This is Biggie, and Biggie has a disease that makes her back legs not work. I could go through all kinds of operations and everything, but it may not work. But why live like that? So we have decided to put her to sleep, and I am taking all the time I can with her and loving on her and showing her that I love her as much as she loves me. So this is her outside, and she loves the outdoors like all dogs do.
Is that Biggie baby out here? Look at her. Yeah, he got her standing up. Yeah, I don't think she's going to pee. Yeah. Yeah.
Emily, what are you doing? Oh, that break on.
No. But boy, she likes it out here. Look at her.
Emily, leave her alone.
Your tail out there, me Biggie. Huh? So if I can go a little bit closer to you. Nope, going away. There we go. It's a little bit fuzzy on this end. But there's the Biggie girl. Yes, her like it outside. Yeah, her likes it outside. Yeah. He wants the toilet flushed, I bet. I've already done that. So like, yeah, I'm getting it. You come in clear. Should probably do like Bullet. Just go off and lay down. It's crying shame she can't move. Her favorite spot's up against the fence. Right over there. Way over there. But she ain't going over there no more. It's too much to carry her over. She's too big. She's a huge, big old fat baby now. But boy, she sure did enjoy all that McDonald's. I have all that recorded where I just took all them bags and the bucket in there. She loved it. She ate every piece of bacon. Oh no, I left my phone in
Emily,
there.
get away from the edge.
See what's going to happen here. Nothing. Not a thing.
Look at that picture.
I had one of Biggie dancing. Yeah. Yours come in a whole lot closer. What are you doing, Mama? Are you figuring out what's going on with Biggie? I wished I had one.
I'm taking all the time I can with her because I know I won't be able to spend any more time with her once she is gone. And I will love her and I will miss her, but she will be going to be with a friend, and her name is Jersey. I love you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Inman. This is a mini lecture on rear leg lameness in the canine, essentially a disease condition that can be called sometimes hip dysplasia, spondylitis, and spondylosis deformans, chronic spine disease, essentially chronic rear leg lameness, a number of different things cause the dogs to go down in the rears. Down in the rears meaning, of course, that the dog doesn't have strength in the rear legs. This is an old dog disease, essentially. Very commonly, it is, in fact, the reason that somebody will bring the dog into the veterinary practice for its last trip to the veterinary practice. The animal that does not respond to anti-inflammatory therapy to get strength back to its rear legs very commonly is not operated on because they're too late, too old essentially for this type of therapy, and therefore they're given up on and put down, unfortunately. And we found that these animals have a whole series of neurological interferences that we can find in their lower back that actually causes the condition. So what we're telling you is that the disease conditions, chronic hip dysplasia, degenerative myelopathy, spondylitis deformans, spondylosis deformans, all of these conditions are actually syndromes of a primary disease condition, which is vertebral subluxation complex. Remember, vertebral subluxation complex is in fact a condition that occurs neurologically due to injury, accumulated injury, over a long period of time in the spinal cord, essentially shutting down each successive areas of the spinal cord. If an area of the spinal cord incurs an injury, the body ends up with this phenomenon of vertebral subluxation complex, and if that's not respondedly, or if not repaired with this technique or other techniques, then what occurs is that area basically builds up hydrogen ions, serotonin, bradykinin, prostaglandins, P substance essentially, and that causes pain in the tissue. The body basically avoids that area, and the body says, hey, if you're not going to fix this joint, I'm going to shut it down, and I'll shut it down with actually bony connection. First cartilage, then connective tissue, then bone, and then we have a fusion of a joint, and we end up with what's called spondylosis or spondylosis deformans. I'm going to zoom in a little closer and give you a shot of what that actually looks like on an x-ray, which is what veterinarians will see when they diagnose a dog that's quote-unquote down in the rears. And then we'll talk about how we go about fixing that and routinely fix that every day. So I'm going to zero in on this right now. This is the second set that we're going to do. As you can see in this x-ray that we brought off the internet, essentially we have a spinal cord, and we're looking at the lateral aspects of the dog from the spinal cord, and you see these areas of spondylosis and spondylitis all up and down the ventral aspect of the spinal cord. Here's not a good joint, but this joint is starting to fuse. This one is fused. This one is completely fused, as you can see. This one is completely fused. This one is in the process of fusing. This is spondylitis deformans. This is caused by neurological interference that's occurring here in the spinal cord, essentially, and causing the body to direct healing and shutting down the joint with a bony connection like this to try to stabilize an unstable joint. This is the body's response to this, and this incurs actually subluxation that begets other subluxation. So what happens is one area has a problem, and then it fuses itself like this. The other area basically takes all the energy from that spine, basically, and it breaks down like this one does, and then it fuses, and then the one next to it breaks down and it fuses. It goes like boing, 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 boing like that, up and down the spinal cord until it accumulates enough degeneration of the spinal cord and lack of nerve function that the animal doesn't have any more strength, and he goes down in the rears. Here's another x-ray of a spondylitis situation, and you can see here extensive amounts of osteoarthritic changes that are occurring in the joints. Look at how this joint is completely collapsed, and these other joints essentially are undergoing degeneration and fusion. There's actually bony fusion that's occurring right in this area. This is not occurring in the animal because the bones don't have anything else to do. They're responding to vertebral subluxation complex. This occurs in about 7 or 8 years in the canine of chronic subluxation complex, about 60 to 70 years in the human being. And so this, in fact, is a condition that we see radiographically. My profession doesn't treat this except for medicine and cross your fingers. What actually happens, though, is that we're able to treat this successfully with the VOM technology, or at least rehabilitate as much neurological tissue as we possibly can. So when we get a dog that's down in the rears, we have to decide whether or not the problem is, in fact, a hip, a back problem, or something else involving weakness and other aspects. More often than not, it's this phenomenon. It's the phenomenon of spinal degeneration and lack of consecutive strength down the spinal cord due to the phenomenon of vertebral subluxation complex. In the vomtech.com website, VOMTECH.com website, we show you how we go about taking care of these animals on a regular basis. I must have gotten thousands of these animals that came to me because nothing could be done and medication wouldn't solve the problem. We would go through and do a basic VOM adjustment, and these animals would get strength almost back immediately. Now, we're not able to reverse the bony change. We're not able to reverse this bony change, but what we can do, if we have reactive breeding patterns, and you'll see that on the videos that are on the vomtech.com website, if there is in fact a reflexive response there, there's an active subluxation phenomenon occurring at that location, and we can reverse that and rehabilitate that. In doing so, we give this animal back most of its function at that particular joint, and also most of its neurological strength. So we can get a dog that's weak and down in the rears, can't control bowel and bladder, and is atrophying the rear legs essentially, and bring them back to some extent, maybe back to 60% or 70% of their total functionality. Sometimes it looks like we make them completely normal when we treat this condition. It's imperative to know that the body response, bony response, spondylitis, spondylosis, deformans essentially, is actually a syndrome associated with the body's response to the underlying cause, which is vertebral subluxation complex, which is a neurological interference that we find and we remove and treat with this condition. It's incredibly easy, it's very safe, and virtually its success rate is very, very high relative to putting the animal down, for crying out loud. So our approach is to use that. We'd also mention we're going to talk about degenerative myelopathy, because if this thing occurs further and further up and down the spinal cord, we get less and less neurological activity that is occurring in the nerve, and when that happens, the actual nerve tissue breaks down, and it breaks down and we end up with a myelopathy, and it looks like it degenerates the disc and also degenerates as it goes further down the spinal cord, so it looks like it's a progressive degenerative myelopathy, which is another disease condition that's confused with a down in the rears dog. We can also treat that with a combination of the VOM technology and also laser, which has been incredibly effective for treating degenerative myelopathy. That'll be another video that all by itself that we'll deliver pretty soon. Thank you for looking at this. I'd have you go to the vomtech.com website and look at a list of other videos that we have necessarily that are on YouTube, plus also a set of videos that will show you exactly how to do this, why it works, how it works, and how to apply it in your practice. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at 888-935-4866. I'm Dr. William Newman. Thank you for your patience and have a great day.